It all began in 1891 in the cold winters of Springfield, Massachusetts, USA. James Naismith was a physical education teacher that made a little game that he was supposed to use to keep his students active during the harsh weathers, but I don't think he knew how much of an impact this game that he made up within 3 days would make, eventually garnering the attention of millions of people around the world. And from the first moments of the game, I'd like to think it was very apparent to him that although this game was just something small right now, it had promise. They say that greatness is not a destination but a journey. It starts with small steps that will eventually lead us to achieve the extraordinary. 100 years later, in another part of the world, something was brewing in the mind of a young upcoming mangaka. His name, Takehiko Inoue. Basketball is a sport played with 2 teams of 5, with hoops at both ends of a 90-foot court. The aim of the game being to put the ball through the hoop of the opponent. Whoever scores the most at the end of the established time wins. After the introduction of the sport, it underwent extensive redevelopment with new rules and the 3-point line, significantly increasing its marketability. The arrival of skilled and charismatic players ultimately propelling the sport to unprecedented levels of popularity in the 90s, symbolized by the indomitable presence of one athletic prodigy, Michael Jordan. But in the land of the rising sun, the game hadn't made so much of an impact yet, with so many people being oblivious to the sport, and with many of them thinking, what's so great about such a crappy game? Here, we're introduced to Sakuragi Hanamichi, a classic representation of the word delinquent, with his towering structure and fierce nature. Recently, he had just gotten rejected by a girl because she liked a guy from the basketball team. Feeling wronged and frustrated, all he needed was a reason to act out, and one came. A series of events and actions eventually just lead into this whole situation right here. Hanamichi ending up challenging the captain of the basketball team while the whole school watches. And when I watched Alex's video, he reviewed this manga, and right here he mentions how dumb it was that everyone in the school just so happened to want to watch a 1v1 showdown between the captain of the basketball team and just some random guy apparently. And I think I understand why he would think that. I don't know, I just say just so I advance the plot at this point. Moving on with the match, watching this gave me second-hand embarrassment because there were just a couple of moments, and the moment that really did it for me was watching Sakuragi pulling down my guy's trouser and the whole school just look at my guy's nyash like, what the hell? Oh god. Even on top of that, he ends up getting dunked on for the finishing basket by the guy he called a noob. If it was me, man, I'm quitting. I'm moving somewhere with a ranch and farms and no Wi-Fi. Just no cell towers in general, because I don't want anybody finding me at that point. I think at this point it's best for me to backtrack a little bit so we can see how we got here. And for that to happen, I'd like to introduce you guys to Haruko, the main love interest of Sakuragi, whom is also the sister of the guy he just dunked on. After that lucky victory, Sakuragi ends up joining the basketball team after much persuasion on his part, only for him to be gobsmacked at the realization that he actually doesn't know basketball. Rukawa Kaede, a prodigy first year, acts as the goal for Sakuragi to improve. They form somewhat of a rivalry, with Haruko being an accessory to it and being completely oblivious to it all the while. I don't know how, man. Initially, Sakuragi seems to be motivated just wanting to show off for Haruko, but that only takes him so far. A week after he joins the basketball team, feeling frustrated and seeking attention and angry, he lashes out and leaves. And it was during this time away from basketball that he eventually comes to realize that although he did join because of Haruko, he did it for himself. He had also come to like basketball, eventually fulfilling his own words that he said at the beginning. Although it seemed like a lie at that time to just impress Haruko, now it was more than that, and he had indeed come to like basketball. And from here on, the manga really delves deep into basketball. It will rely on your ability to stay focused and be interested in watching Sakuragi grow. And that's how I think Inoue Takehiko came to be able to teach people about basketball, using Sakuragi as a guide. And using this medium of his manga, he was able to approach basketball from an interesting point of view, teaching Sakuragi about bouncing, dribbling, and even sometimes he would explain after a chapter is done some rules that were not explained during the manga, just so that people can have an idea of what's happening. Watching Sakuragi grow from just this delinquent guy into a basketballer has to be one of the best transformations in manga. But it's not only him that you should be focused on, because this manga touches really on everyone, even those guys that you see at the back that this guy is not really going to play, and if he plays, maybe he even enters once, it'd be for just like a morale boost, like that one guy from Kuroko. But eventually you come to know them by name: Sakuragi Hanamichi, Rukawa Kaede, Akagi Takenori, Kogure, Ayako, Okuso, Mito, Takamiya, Noma, Haruko, and you come to realize what kind of roles that they play. Akagi being the overbearing, persistent, and maybe troubled captain. Rukawa, a lonely but bright star. Kogure, the helpful senior. Ayako, the team manager that I really, really, really fell in love with. She's just too pretty. I don't know what to say. Like, I felt, yeah, she's just too good looking, man. And then we get to understand the friendship dynamic with Hanamichi. I'm putting Haruko here because, bro is getting friend zoned, definitely. I guess I should mention one more person, Anzai Sensei. And this time he comes bearing good news for Shouku. They would be having a match very soon against Ryonan. You see, Ryonan is a school from the same prefecture. If you don't understand what prefecture means, it means just like zone, like school zone. Shouku starts practicing for the game, and when Shouku mounts the floor, that's when we can come to understand another thing. Basketball is about motion, and Takehiko Inoue, as an avid basketball fan, understood that, and it really shows in his art. When characters are moving, you can really feel the momentum behind them. The panels feel like they move, shake, turn around, and when they come to a stop, they stop. Paradoxically, all this is just happening in your head, and all you're seeing is just a drawing on flat piece of paper, but that just shows how good he is. What can I say? Basketball is fun, but in every match there has to be a winner and loser, and Shouku just couldn't reach over the wall that was Ryonan. And Sakuragi comes to understand that he can lose. In street fight he was strong, but on the basketball court where fists aren't exchanged, the winner decided by something that he is just a newcomer to, and he has no choice but to accept that it's over. And tears stream down his face as the realization sets in, but because he encounters this defeat does not mean he was defeated. In fact, I think defeat is necessary to know who you truly are and what you can rise from and how you can come out of it. Maya Angelou. Sakuragi isn't deterred by his loss, but it further cements his strong will and dedication. Their match against Ryonan drove them to improve and realize what it really was that they were lacking, and those lacking pieces would come later in the shape of Miyagi and Mitsui in arguably one of, not arguably, it is the bloodiest arc in this manga right here. Things are broken and fists are thrown, people cry, but after the torn pieces have been mended, they get back stronger. From here on out, Takeinoki takes everything to a whole new level as the squad comes together and we get to see each and every one owning their roles. Akagi as the very strong captain, center, and Mitsui, the prodigal son turned sharpshooter, Miyagi, the speedster point guard, Rukawa as the ace that gets the job done regardless of the situation, and Sakuragi, the glue that holds the team together. And from there we get one of the best tournament arcs that you would ever see in a sports manga. And I don't want to get into spoilers because you have to read this first. You just have to read this for yourself.
Oh boy, this guy don't chop. Are you? Oh.
I stayed up all night till around 3 in the morning because I wanted to finish it. Immediately that tournament arc started. I started reading it from like 4 p.m. or so, no, maybe around 8 the previous day, and I had to take it to 3 because I am not sleeping while my curiosity is peaked. I can't do that.
Damn, boy, just got this shit locked. Whoa, let's freaking go. Let's go. I'm probably not gonna go to sleep tonight, but that's no problem. It's not a problem at all. Yes, yeah.
And this is where you would notice Takehiko Inoue's art greatly improved by leaps and bounds so that he could make this slam dunk.
Boom, screen, pass. I am Mitsui, someone who will never give up. Hey, shit. 3 shot. Honestly, he's making that. He has to make that. Like, his form is clean. Oh my god, the art is getting really freaking crazy right now.
And if you don't believe me, it was voted as the best manga in 2006 by more than 80,000 people. And though the ending of this manga would leave you in your feelings, maybe a little puddle of tears, you cannot disagree with me. It was beautiful. I just read this manga in the darkness of my room. While reading this manga in the darkness of my room around 2 a.m. as we're entering through the final stretch of the manga, I felt like I was transported into the stands right next to these sweaty boys that played the sport that they love. And I got to watch this masterpiece unfold from first person point of view. My God. Oh my goodness, that was good. He made it. He fucking made it. He fucking made that shit. Oh my. It was captivating, it was emotional, it was unbelievable. And after it finished, I just sat there, tears in my eyes, sweaty for some reason. And this drew some memory that I didn't even know I had. I was in my classroom looking outside the window, my eyes fixated on the basketball court that I had spent the last 2 previous classes thinking about while waiting for the ending bell so that I could go lace up and just play my heart out. And drawn further into that, a scene played over in my head. I was in the middle of a match, thousands of cheering fans in the stands, the air feeling like it's pressed against my chest as my soaked, sweaty jersey stuck to my skin, and the ticking of the game clock as it ran down. I get the ball in my hand and I take a few dribbles, beat my defender, and with just enough time on the clock for one shot, the fate of the universe on the line, the ball leaves my hand, and I don't know what happened from there, but I blame my teacher that threw a marker at me. I want to talk about something else now. The Pygmalion effect. If you don't know what that is, basically the greater expectation you have on someone, the better they perform. And throughout this manga, I feel like we get to see this from Sakuragi's own actions. If Sakuragi didn't have this firm belief that I'm a genius, anything that I want to do, I do it. I just thought it was like overconfidence or just because he was dumb. But now that it's over, I think maybe he was right to think that way. Because if he didn't, what would have become of him? What would have become of Shohoku? And it made me realize that maybe the biggest reason standing between me and achieving what I want to do may be my very own self. Have you ever doubted your own ability? Given up thinking that you're not good enough or you're not experienced or that there are many others capable of doing what you could do? And maybe even more. Now, imagine if Sakuragi had that same kind of thought. No, you don't need to imagine. He actually did at one point in the manga. But he didn't let that define him. He didn't stay stranded by it. He didn't let those ropes tie him down. And I don't know what circumstances that you may be passing through or anything. But if you can persevere and want it bad enough, I know the road is not easy and you might procrastinate, you might feel obstinate, and although you make mistakes along the way, those mistakes are merely just stones in your path to greatness. So don't stop believing in yourself. I believe that you can do it. I believe that we can do it. I believe that everyone could do it. They just need to be very stubborn about it. And yeah, I guess I'll see you at the end. Okay, since we're believing, I also like to believe that out there in the universe, on some distant planets in somewhere that our telescopes haven't reached, there are a bunch of cat girls that are playing basketball. Okay, thanks for watching this little slam dunk video that I wanted to do. Honestly, I think I had too much expectation on myself to make this video, and that's what led to me procrastinating for it. I mean, I feel like even after I release this video, I'm gonna feel I didn't do enough and it wasn't enough, and maybe I could have changed some things, but that's just gonna hold me back further, and I don't want to be held back. So I'm going to try and be releasing more stuff. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but as long as I'm stubborn about it, I think I will be able to release more stuff. I don't really know when this one is gonna come out, honest to God. But when it does, Yeah, I don't want. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not a quitter. So thanks for watching. You can watch anything else on the channel. Really, you're a real one, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.